Tom, wonderful to get your take on this. I want to start with why the Robotaxi is so essential to Tesla's future at a time when electric vehicles are still being sold and they've managed to actually do all right in China.
Yeah, I mean, you can't get to their $700 billion valuation on just a car business. It's just mathematically impossible. The way you get there is through autonomy, which is FSD to some extent, but it really is the Robotaxi business. It's a very high revenue business. The utilization for miles traveled goes up way more than a regular private car, and it increases the total addressable market in the transportation industry, taking share from planes, from trains, giving people with disability, children access to mobility. So from just a TAM basis, it increases the overall pie for transportation. And that's really why Tesla's going after this so aggressively.
And it is the idea of a robotaxi, one without a driver that can go around. San Francisco, I believe, had some of these by GM in testing form, but then had to pull it back. Your big issue, at least with the valuation, is that you don't think that this is going to be as profitable as many people, including yourself, previously thought. Why? Is it competition? Is it just demand and kind of where consumers are willing to spend?
Yeah, it's interesting. When I did this price target cut, I got a lot of pushback from Tesla bulls thinking that I don't like robotaxis or something. It couldn't be farther from the truth. I still give them $400 billion plus of value from robotaxis. It's over half of my entire valuation. It's just that compared to what I had thought before, I've lowered my pricing assumptions with the help of our internet team who covers the ride-sharing companies Uber and Lyft. And I've also reduced the amount of revenues they get outside of their own walled garden for things like software. And I do believe ultimately the app, right, Uber and Lyft, those guys will have a lot of power, a lot of say in the future of robotaxis. There will be other players in the market, others making cars, software, other apps. But I am still very bullish on robotaxis for Tesla. I have them getting over 20% market share in the US. That 70% of my robotaxi valuation is their own walled garden, their app, their car, their software. It's just that I've lowered the non-Tesla portion of my valuation because I do think there'll be other players. This will be a very regulated market. Government's not going to just allow one player to, dominate everything. That's why I think pricing comes down. And I do think other players will play a bigger role as a result.
Well, Elon Musk has thrown some pretty big numbers out there, Tom, when it comes to what valuations he thinks Tesla will be when it comes to the robotaxi. I want to ask you about a different number, he said. This was at their shareholder meeting earlier this month. He said that Optimus, which is their robot venture, could lift Tesla's market cap to $25 trillion someday. What do you think about that?
Well, I mean, certainly a lot of things could happen, right? And so I'm not discounting that at all. It's just that, my valuation looks at businesses that they already have, energy storage, obviously the car business. I give them credit for robotaxis because of the leadership they have in FSD, full self-driving, which I do think is a precursor for what they'll eventually do in robotaxis. So currently, I don't have the robot in my valuation. We'd have to see more evidence of it to see what that really looks like. But yeah, I mean, this is a name that has a lot of upside potential. So I'm just looking at what we know today, and that's what I'm using to get my valuation.
When you talk about competition coming to this market, do you mean EVs coming from China, Tom?
On robotaxi specifically, I just mean other players making robotaxis, right? So, just look at the ecosystem of regular taxis today, or even when you use your Uber app, different OEMs are sending a car to you and you're getting inside that car. I do think they're going to be the biggest player in the US, but look at China and then look at Europe. I don't think Tesla will dominate China. China's going to want to have their own national champions and potentially so in Europe as well. So it's more to do with the fact that I think the overall robotaxi ecosystem will be fragmented. There'll be a lot of players. I do think Tesla will be a really strong player, especially in the US. But it's just to note that in the robotaxi ecosystem, especially since the government will regulate these markets, I don't think they'll allow for, one ring to rule them all, a monopoly or so to speak. I think there'll be a lot of different players, and that's something that I wasn't really accounting for in my prior evaluation.
Just real quick here, Tom, which other auto manufacturer do you think is going to present a real competitive edge versus Tesla in this field?
I don't know if it'll be like another, like a duopoly type thing. I think it'll be fragmented, right? It'll be OEMs with theirs using, let's say, Mobileye software or somebody else's software, or it'll be, the app will have a strong play, and that could be Uber and Lyft, but with different OEMs. And certainly today we know Waymo, GM Cruise are strong players in this. I don't see why they couldn't participate in it as well, but it's too early to tell, I think, outside of Tesla, who will be strong players. I do see it being a fragmented market with different types of players doing different things. Tesla will have, I think, a walled garden approach with the total ecosystem, but that'll be some portion of it. So it's not really like there'll be another company that will, rival necessarily Tesla. It's just there'll be a series of different players coming at it from different angles.